You know the thing about branding, right? If I don't say the line, how would you even know who you're watching? In fact, you know what let's do, guys? Let's let's make this an interactive video, a participatory exercise. Let's all say the line together. Count to three, all right? Check us out. Gotcha. Hi, diddly hey, neighborino, it's Jim, and we're discussing the Danish entity Mall and their album Dreamcrush. New album. An album that it's actually rather challenging. I feel like if I said this is an album that sits between black metal and shoegaze, that would give you an idea of what is on offer, but may not necessarily convey the full impact of what I'd really like to communicate about this record. Now, y'all know how I rate music, right? I date back to the days of well, cassettes and then compact discs and then vinyl, if not to the OG vinyl days themselves. I actually did grow up with a lot of vinyl, but not metal vinyl, just like a bunch of vinyl of all different sorts. The metal was all cassettes, and then, yeah, CDs came around. But at any rate, I mean, it was a physical product attendant with the music, right? Like, you weren't just turning on a device and hearing the metal at any rate. Like, not on the radio, certainly. So, yeah, I give an equal weight to the aesthetic around an album or a release as to the music itself. And I also tack on a score for the impact because I think it is consequential to an album where it sits in the broader sweep of history and what people are going to say about it, for better or for worse. Not because that affects my enjoyment of it, but because that does have an impact on how we think of an album, right? So, all of that said, let's get into this one. I'd never heard of this band before. I only, in fact, saw that a couple of bigger channels were doing reviews of it, and I thought, well, you know, if this is something that people are talking about, I should stay abreast of events and issue my own judgment upon this record. I don't think anyone else actually played the record whilst they were reviewing it, which I consider a grave disservice. We'll get into that in a second here. So, firstly, let's dispense with my take on the album, and then I will talk briefly about the attendant ramifications that I teased out of the whole experience. So, where do I rate this album? 1 to 10 on the scale of music and of aesthetic. Well, I'm not enjoying this at all. This is an absolute zero on enjoyment. But let's dig into the aesthetic, because that could theoretically save them some points, maybe. Well, nothing about this, to me, says heavy metal adjacent. I would not have regarded this album or thought twice about it. Distorted guitars and screamy vocals included, but for the fact that more than one larger metal YouTube outlet is discussing it, taking it seriously. Anyway, the cover is actually kind of cool, but it's not cool in a metal context, so I can't give it any points for aesthetic, and if I was going to, I had to deduct them because that's just how bad music is. This is really bad music. But that takes us to the impact, and that's really where I think this album is an important matter of discussion. So, the first one that I saw was The Metal Meltdown, and I knew before I clicked play, but I did watch enough of the video to confirm both that he hopes you all are doing really well, and also that this is a really great album, guys. I really enjoy this album. There's like fantastic stuff about this album. And I mean, I did that for research purposes to confirm my pre-existing biases. But the guys on Thralls of Metal also reviewed this album, and so this is something that is true of everyone on that channel. They seem like very swell guys, and they seem to really appreciate their metal. Maybe a little too much, even. They're swell guys, and they really dig this record that just came out. It's like super heavy, and there's like stuff going on. And they want to say nice things about it, because they really enjoyed it. And I cannot be the only person that's had that observation where I'll be like, alright, so these guys are doing a really good service by documenting all of this stuff, but you watch that channel just expecting that they're probably going to enjoy whatever, like, a lot more than you absolutely would under any circumstance. Like, I can't be the only one with that attitude, I assume. But at any rate, there are a lot of occasions where I will admit taste is subjective. And, you know, you shouldn't judge people for the music they listen to. But that said, I do make exceptions to that rule. And, I mean, the obvious go-to is, like, if you listen to Slipknot, I judge you harshly for it. And, you really probably should stop, but that's between you and God. Now, as to this album, did I mention that this was bad? This is a really bad album. But it's also, like, not even... It's hardly metal adjacent. It's like some fruity Europeans that like hardcore music made some hardcore music that I have to assume is bad even for hardcore music, because, like, I've heard hardcore of a sort that's not as garishly awful as this. But this is just a confused mess of fruity Europeans trying to jumble together styles that patently do not go together. The context jumps are jarring. And, I mean, hardcore and metal are both male-dominant scenes, so men are less attuned to context than women, but this is awful shit. Just, like, as an objective art critic kind of, like, viewpoint, like, I have to say, confused, jumbled, and jarringly discontextual, non-contextual, just, yeah. Fucking terrible all around. So, the upshot of all this is, you guys from Thralls of Metal, in this particular instance, you should absolutely feel very ashamed of yourself for having recommended this album, and, I'm assuming that it wasn't like a giant troll, because those guys have, like, a fairly substantial fan base. And, it's possible that they were just thinking, like, let's drop this one, and any percentage of these guys are going to, like, actually fall for it. But I really doubt that was the case. I suspect that they both actually enjoyed this record, and for that I have to say, that's an occasion to question the life choices that led you to this point. I don't think they played the record. I'm letting this play, not because I want it to be, like, happening near me, simply because I think we all need to know just, like, how bad this is. Anyway, I just gave 10 minutes of my life to that, and that's about enough of that. This is really bad, and Is it like, does it bother me if people listen to music like this that I don't enjoy? Well, no, but it should bother you. And I mean, this is the thing. This isn't about me. This is about you. You're watching me because you want to know what I have to say about heavy metal, right? We're starting here, or we're pausing here longer than I wish to, just to say, like, this is objectively awful. And just like Slipknot, you should not be listening to it, and you should feel really bad about yourself if you ever enjoyed this at all. I practice what I preach. I once briefly enjoyed Arch Enemy, and I'm deeply embarrassed for it to this day. But there was no point in my life when I was ever going to be suckered into this. Like, Jesus Christ. Anyway, I'm Jim Dempsey, and I'm going to go turn this music off as quick as possible. Dipping.